Have you ever wondered how Santa Claus and his reindeer make that very, very long journey every Christmas Eve? Well, the scientist in me indicated that I had to try to look some things up and see if I could better understand how this big journey actually takes place. First of all, I found that historians report that reindeer have been domesticated by man for over 5,000 years. And we all know Santa Claus is no spring chicken himself. He's been around a long time. So I think we're pretty comfortable in the fact that he knows where he's going to go and they're not going to get lost. You know, some people be concerned, how do those reindeer get through that entire evening and have enough to eat? Well, remember, reindeer are just like cattle in some ways. They have 4 stomachs and they can store a lot of feed to utilize throughout that entire evening. Santa Claus knows that if he feeds those reindeer a good meal of something like hay or moss, that digests more slowly than something like grain. And you remember, just like your mother used to say, get a good breakfast so it'll stick to your ribs. Well, it's the same concept. This hay will stick around with those reindeer throughout the entire evening and provide them the energy that they need to fly around the world. How do they keep warm up there in the sky on a cold, cold winter's night? Well, remember, reindeer, they're up there at the North Pole anyway. They have a very thick fur, traps a lot of little pieces of air in around the hair, and that provides a really warm blanket all over their body, so they're very, very comfortable on that cold winter night. Now, you might be concerned about where there's reindeer if they get thirsty on the ride. Well, in their North Pole environment, you know, the water's all frozen anyway, so they're used to just getting a little mouthful of snow that'll take in and get the water that they need, and they're going to get that off a rooftop if they get thirsty. In warm climates, they can just stop by any little lake or pond and get a drink if necessary, so we don't need to worry about our reindeer that Santa Claus is using getting too thirsty. Now, what about that part about how do reindeer fly? Boy, that's a tough one. But let's do some math, and I think we can figure this out. First of all, we know that reindeer can run very, very rapidly. When researchers in Alaska do studies on reindeer, they found out that a baby reindeer, 1 day of age, can outrun the fastest graduate student that they've got. Well, if they're that fast at 1 day of age, just think how rapidly they can run when they're adults. So they can get up a lot of speed. Adult reindeer, they're different than our whitetail that we have here in Oklahoma. They have very long antlers. The antlers may reach as long as 4 feet. Well, think about this. They've got 4 feet of antlers on each side, so each reindeer has about an 8-foot antler span. That then multiplied by the fact that Santa Claus generally uses 8 reindeer, 8 times 8, that's 64 feet of antler span. 72 if he uses Rudolph, and that is about twice as wide as the typical wingspan on a small plane that can fly at any time. So with all that speed and all that antler span, doesn't it make sense that they can certainly get off the ground? Well, you know, there's a couple of things that we ought to clear up. You've probably heard the song about up on the housetop, click, click, click. Well, reindeer do have a tendon that goes over their knee that when they walk makes a clicking sound. But the part about them having tiny reindeer paws, that one's not correct. Reindeer have a large foot that helps them dig through the snow to get the moss, to help them as they land on these roofs have a real big surface to land on so that they can stop in that short area. Hey, I think that from what we've found about reindeer, that they're going to make that trip very, very well this year. And for me, I tell you what, I'm going to be good between now and Christmas because I want to make sure that Santa Claus and those reindeer stop at my house this year. And we look forward to visiting with you next time on Sunup's Cow Calf Corner.